Well, to shed some light into breaking down those figures, let's go over to Abuja. Markwa's got this one. Markwa, go ahead.
Well, thank you, Chamberlain. I have with me in the studio Dr. Obadiah Mailafia, who is a former Deputy Governor of the CBN and also Director, Center for Policy and Economic Research. You're welcome to Sunrise Daily.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, we have heard from the Nigeria Bureau of Statistics. They have been consistent in releasing figures. Well, we've heard that, inflation has marginally dropped, I think, by 0.5%.
Yes.
But food prices have remained stubbornly high. It doesn't seem to be responding to measures, if there are any, by government to try and bring down the price of food. What is going on?
Well, I think there are several reasons. The first one, we also have to note that there is the factor of seasonality, that within the planting season is normally March, April. So, until the crops are ready for the market, that is the peak of scarcity and high cost of food prices generally in Nigeria. By late September up to December, food tends to be in abundance because there's a lot of harvest going on, yams, corn, and the rest of it. But the data for this time of year reflects partly, I think, the factor of seasonality. That's number one. Secondly, there have been massive exports of food recently. We've been told of yam, a lot of corn actually being exported to neighboring countries for onward shipment to Ukraine and to other places. I understand by Lebanese merchants who smuggle these through the border, through Niger, Chad, and the rest of it. A lot of that has been going on. And also, thirdly, and this is something that people don't ever like to talk about, the herdsmen farmers clashes. It has sort of subsided a little bit, even though several weeks ago we had a very horrific massacres of Fulanis that took place in Taraba State. Some insist it was, a reprisal for what they had done in the past. But from whatever source, from whatever quarter, that kind of violence is very destructive. It destroys the social capital of community. It destroys local productivity. And in fact, in a lot of areas in the Middle Belt, farmers restrict their farming activities to the areas near their homes. But for the majority, most of the most productive farmland is in the interior. People have to go several kilometers to where the real farmlands are in the interior. People are no longer going there because they are very frightened of, killings by, these rural bandits. A lot of that has been going on, and we haven't really addressed it. So I would say several factors have accounted for this, and also the pendulum of, the exchange rate. And that pendulum has been switching more and more towards higher rather than lower exchange rate.
But even though some people will argue that the exchange rates will only affect goods that we are importing, especially food products that we are importing, which seems to be on the down low. I mean, it looks like we're importing less of the food that we consume now, and we're looking more at,
Yes.
foods that we're producing locally. Now, be that as it may, you have cited three major reasons as to why
But
food
I need to correct that. I mean, some of those items that are inputs in agriculture still have to be imported. And of course, these are additional costs.
So that can, but we also get to hear that government in many instances subsidizes agricultural inputs.
Well, not everybody benefits from those subsidies. And if you still have to import tractors, you still have to import pesticides, those things are more expensive than before. So these are additional costs, yes.
Well, you have cited three major factors, even though the fourth one, it can be arguable. I mean, it's arguable, but seasonal,
Yes.
factor,
Sure.
the fact that, grains are being exported, the export factor. I'm sure a lot of Nigerians do not want to hear about that, because I recall when yams were being exported from Benue, I think from Benue, and I think they spoke with the Minister of Agriculture and said, how is this not going to affect local prices? Is it not going to make the product scarce? And I think the minister had said no, that new yams are just around the corner, and as it is, we still have enough in the country. But now when we hear that, perhaps that might have an effect on the price of food and the, stubborn highness of the price of food, what do we do